Okay, so the next part of the Declaration, the third, so the first part was the preamble, or also known as the introduction, where the colonists said, look, if you're going to break up with somebody, you should tell them why. The second section was a list or an explanation of the colonists' beliefs. They believe that all men are created equal. They believe that if people are upset with their government, they should work to change it, or they should start with a new one. And now we have a list of grievances or complaints. And this list of complaints highlights the main problems the colonists were having with their king. So what we see here is this section isn't in paragraph form anymore, right? Section 2 is in paragraph form. This section is a list. It's an actual list of grievances that they have about their king. So for example, if we look at this one, he has made judges dependent on his will alone. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has refused his assent to laws. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people. He has cut off our trade with parts of the world. He has imposed taxes on us without our consent. He has deprived us of trial by jury. All right, you see this long list. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. The colonists were certainly angry, but they were not just emotional people. They had thought out a legitimate list of complaints to show to the king, these aren't small complaints we have. You have kept us from living our lives in a way that helps us make a living. We cannot trade. We cannot do our jobs. We cannot have privacy in our homes. He has abolished the free system of English laws, quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. Remember, we talked about the Quartering Act meant that British troops could use your home. And so whenever the king brought in British troops to be in the colonies, sometimes they would need a place to live. And so you were required by law to give them, it's called give them quarter, which means give them a place to stay. Okay, so that's part 3, is just this long list of complaints. And I think that's a heavy part. Section 4 begins here. This is where section 4 is the explanation of how they've tried to fix the problem. So if we go back to it being a breakup letter or an official breakup, let's say a couple is getting divorced, oftentimes when they go to court to finalize the divorce, there is a stage where they have to explain what they've done to fix the problems in their marriage. You know, maybe they can say, oh, we've attended counseling sessions. Okay, we tried a trial separation period. We adjusted our hours at work to make sure that we, tried to do what we could to find a way to get along. Whatever it is, you may present the ways that you tried to solve the problems. And the colonists say, at every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our petitions have been answered only by injury. So they explain in their 4th section, here's what we did to try to solve this. We tried to petition you. If you remember from our notes earlier this week, we read that the king, he didn't even read some of the petitions that came to him from the colonists. He didn't even read them. He wasn't acting concerned. Okay? It says, we have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature. We have reminded them. Okay? We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. Okay? And some of these words seem difficult, but you can see in the pattern, we have done this, we have done this, we have done this. And these are just ways of saying we've tried. All right? And it says they have been deaf to the voice of justice. All right? So at this point, that's 4 sections. again, let's review. The first section is the colonists saying, if you're going to separate from somebody, you should tell them why. So we're declaring independence, but we want to tell you why. Second section, second section is a list or an explanation of the colonists' beliefs. Here's what we believe about the world. Here's what we believe about people and their government. And then the third section is a list of the complaints that they had against the king and the British government. The fourth section, they're telling us what they did to try to have peace or to try to solve the problem with their British government. And now in the fifth section, this is the final one. This is the official declaration. And look at these words. You can tell it's official. Starts out here with, we therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from allegiance to the British Crown. Okay, that they are absolved. That is so important right there, right? That is just so important. So I want to make sure, there's a couple things here. I want to make sure that we all kind of understand the 5 sections, and just again to review, we have the first section, the introduction, a list of beliefs, then a list of complaints, an explanation of the things the colonists did to try to solve the problem, and then finally in the 5th section, basically the official declaration. And then beyond that, all we have are signatures. And you can see by colony. For Georgia, for example, these are the 3 people that signed from Georgia. From North Carolina, right? And so you'd have, we always say, what's your John Hancock, right? There's John Hancock right there. That means your signature. So John Hancock was from Massachusetts, and he is one of the signers of the Declaration. So this is it. This is the structure. This is part 2 of your video, and you will use this to do your upcoming assignment. All right.